Have you ever noticed how the person making the most noise often possesses the least genuine influence? Real strength, your inherent power, doesn't need to shout, it's simply felt. Composure isn't about doing zero, it's about achieving everything with an undercurrent of calm. While many get swept up in reactions, you can be the one who sees with clarity. Your true force isn't found in hurried movements, it's found in your self-possession. This is a vital key to unlocking your inner command. Yet, it's a tough concept for many because we've been conditioned from a young age to think that every feeling that washes over us defines who we are. You find yourself saying, "I am furious, I am heartbroken, I am stressed out," but these are not your essence. They are just temporary states flowing through your experience. Imagine a vast, clear night sky, and shooting stars momentarily streak across it. Your emotions are like those fleeting stars, but you are the immense sky itself, constant and undisturbed. You are not the turmoil you sometimes encounter, you are the serene expanse where that turmoil plays out. When someone pushes your buttons, questions your worth, or tries to get a rise out of you, the typical human response is to feel that heat surge inside, like a fire igniting in your core. Your heart starts to race, your breathing gets shallow, your hands might tighten, and suddenly, you're lost in that charged moment. But right then, you overlook the very thing that would give you the upper hand. You forget that you always possess a choice. That watchful part of you, your inner witness, is constantly there. It's the piece of you that can observe yourself getting agitated. It's the aspect of you that registers the frantic voice in your mind, but doesn't join its panic. It views the brewing tempest but refuses to become one with it. This inner witness, that's the authentic you. In ancient wisdom traditions, practitioners don't focus their training on besting others. They dedicate themselves to mastering their own inner worlds. Every precise action, every conscious breath, every moment of profound quiet is a pathway to sharpening mental discipline. It's about learning to notice rather than to simply react, to observe a feeling like anger surface and then release it, much like a fallen leaf drifting away on a gentle current. They understand that to navigate life effectively, they must first achieve self-rule. And to achieve that self-rule, they must identify not with the ever-changing feelings, but with the steady awareness that perceives everything. When an individual attempts to belittle you or wound your sense of self, you have to see that their remarks are just bursts of energy. What truly fuels that energy is how hooked you are to it. You start to think their viewpoint holds weight. You start to think your core identity needs to fight back. But your inner witness doesn't jump to defend anything. Your inner witness knows that choosing quiet isn't a sign of surrender, it's a mark of profound insight. Ask yourself this: who really bears the cost when you let anger take over? Who gets harmed when you lose your cool? It isn't the individual who set you off, it's you. You're the one carrying that internal blaze, you're the one getting consumed from within. And ultimately, you sacrifice your tranquility, your lucidity, your centeredness. When you operate from your inner witness, you're no longer yanked around by outside pressures. You don't move to the beat of another person's turmoil. You set your own pace, you define your own journey. And that journey is traveled with composure, not with fury, with insight, not with knee-jerk responses. Let go of the urge to jump in on every situation. Let go of the compulsion to always be correct. Let go of the notion that your feelings dictate your ultimate reality. They are like guests passing through, not permanent occupants. Welcome them, acknowledge them, but don't hand over the keys to your entire being. It demands immense inner fortitude to sit with your rising temper and not act impulsively. It requires serious discipline to feel slighted yet opt for calm over a confrontation. It takes genuine personal power to sense a storm brewing within and yet remain as steadfast as a great oak. This isn't about bottling things up. This isn't a display of frailty. It is true command. It's understanding that you are the awareness observing the feeling, not the feeling itself. You are the vast expanse, not the passing weather. And the more you train your mind to observe with detachment instead of instantly reacting, the more you'll discover that very little can genuinely unsettle you anymore, because nothing can invade your inner sanctuary unless you consciously decide to let it in. And when you live from that space of awareness, your entire demeanor shifts. You communicate with less franticness and more clear intention. You listen deeply without feeling an immediate need to interject. You embody tranquility not merely as an idea, but as your natural way of being. This is precisely why your inner witness remains untouched by external chaos. It doesn't fight against it. It observes, it comprehends, and it releases. Your real influence isn't determined by what you feel, but by how you choose to respond to those feelings. Each time you observe without reacting, you fortify yourself. You become more deeply anchored, and no one can unsettle a person who is firmly rooted in their own awareness. So, when irritation knocks, when a verbal jab comes your way, when intense feelings surge, call this to mind: you are not the tempest. You are the peaceful expanse behind it all, observing, breathing calmly, steadily. Inhale, observe, and stay liberated. The events outside aren't the core issue. Your emotional hook to them is. So many people go through their entire existence trying to manage everything happening around them. They attempt to alter others, to manipulate situations, to sidestep any discomfort, always chasing a sense of safety. But regardless of how much they shuffle the external deck, that internal unease persists. They're left wondering why they still feel agitated, why they still get wounded, why they still succumb to anger. The reality is straightforward yet often hard to embrace. Nothing external can truly disrupt your peace unless you are already emotionally tied to something within you that can be triggered. You aren't upset because of what they uttered. You are upset because their words struck a chord with a pre-existing belief you cherish. You aren't wounded by their actions. You are wounded because you had certain expectations of them that went unfulfilled. Emotional entanglement is unseen, yet it steers you without your conscious knowledge. This entanglement is the hidden cord that links your inner calm to something or someone outside of yourself. And when that external thing shifts, your sense of peace shifts right along with it. In those wisdom traditions, practitioners cultivate letting go, not because they are indifferent, but because they recognize that genuine freedom cannot coexist with such emotional ties. When you're hooked on getting approval, you turn into a servant to every compliment. When you're hooked on comfort, you grow fearful of any unease. When you're hooked on specific people, you risk losing your own sense of self. Life is constant change. Individuals will enter and exit your story. They'll align with you, then they'll diverge. They'll show affection, and then they might depart. The circumstances will transform. The phases of life will progress. The world will not pause to cater to your desires. And if your tranquility hinges on the world perfectly matching your blueprint, then you are setting yourself up for a perpetual battle with how things are. When something gets under your skin, inquire within. What am I so fiercely holding on to here? Which of my beliefs is being put to the test? What part of my identity feels endangered? More often than not, you'll find that your distress isn't born from the situation itself, but from the narrative you're spinning in your mind about its significance. If someone overlooks you and you feel a sting of disrespect, it's not the act of being ignored that inflicts the pain. It's your underlying conviction that you must always be noticed. It's your emotional investment in being acknowledged that triggers the ache, not their quietness. If another person achieves something and you feel a pang of jealousy, it's not their accomplishment that generates your unease. It's your clinging to making comparisons. It's your belief that their ascent somehow signifies your own stagnation. This is why the path of inner wisdom isn't about trying to micromanage the outside world. It's about gaining mastery over your inner landscape. The very instant you release these emotional hooks, you become incredibly resilient, not because challenges cease to arise, but because nothing can destabilize your core foundation anymore. Letting go isn't a denial of life, it's a more profound acceptance of it. When you stop trying to force things to be a certain way, you begin to perceive them with startling clarity, just as they are. You become fully present, not just reactive, deeply rooted, not easily swayed. You cease struggling against the current of what is and start moving harmoniously with it. If someone is discourteous to you and you're not emotionally tied to being treated with deference, you will experience no internal friction. If someone holds a different view and you're not hooked on being correct, you will feel no compulsion to debate. If someone departs and you're not clinging to their continued presence, you will remain complete because your sense of self was never constructed upon their being there. Release the drive to be constantly understood, the urge to always be validated, the need to maintain control, the desire for everything to unfold precisely as you wish. These intense needs are like anchors weighing you down in suffering. It's not the downpour that spoils your day, it's your fixed expectation of clear skies. It's not the congested traffic that causes your agitation, it's your emotional investment in moving quickly. It's not another person's silence that wounds you, it's your deep-seated craving for their focus. Life takes on a beautiful simplicity the moment you stop insisting it conform to your ideal. You start to navigate with a lightness, free from internal resistance. You welcome what arrives, you let go of what departs, you give up trying to mold the world to your preferences. Instead, you flexibly adjust your mindset to align with each moment. When your inner peace is anchored in something timeless within you, not in fluctuating external factors, you move through life with an effortless grace. You are no longer easily disturbed by shifting opinions surrounding noise, periods of chaos, or setbacks. You observe all things, and you respond only when a response is truly called for, not from a place of fear, not from wounded pride, not from surging anger, but from a space of lucid understanding. And this lucidity emerges as the clamor of emotional entanglement subsides. It happens when you truly grasp that tranquility was never something to be found in the outside world. It resided within you all along, patiently waiting to be revealed. Not through imposing more control, but through the courage of letting go. The journey isn't about accumulating more possessions or accolades. It's about diminishing your needs. It's about ceasing to look for security in things that are inherently transient. It's about stopping the search for validation from people who are, by nature, changeable. It's about discontinuing the practice of building your identity on what you own or achieve. When you truly let go, you don't actually forfeit anything of real value. You gain immeasurably. You gain authentic freedom, profound strength, a commanding presence, and an unshakable sense of peace. So, release the misconception that the world must perfectly align with your desires for you to experience happiness. It's not the world itself that unsettles you. It's your persistent clinging to how you believe it should be. When you dissolve that emotional hook, nothing can truly bother you anymore, because there's nothing left for the external world to grab onto. That is genuine influence. That is authentic tranquility. That is real liberation. Continue to walk your path with open hands and a spirit full of richness. Your vital energy follows where your attention is directed. You must cultivate your focus. Many individuals navigate life feeling perpetually drained, not because their workload is excessive, but because they are constantly leaking energy through countless distractions, impulsive reactions, and internal emotional static. They permit their awareness to be tucked in a multitude of directions without ever pausing to question where it's headed or if it truly serves them. You cannot effectively steer your life if you do not command your focus, because your energetic resources are not bottomless. Every single moment you invest dwelling on things that don't contribute to your growth, every moment you react to situations that don't warrant your precious energy, you are, in effect, eroding your own foundation. The world is a very noisy place, and it constantly vyes for your attention. Everything seems to be competing for it: your smartphone, your anxieties, your ego, the dramas of other people. But the conscious individual walks a distinct path. This person understands that attention is not a trivial commodity, it is sacred. If you persistently concentrate on what ignites your anger, you will inevitably shape yourself into an angry individual. If you are always scanning for what's deficient, you will inhabit a reality that mirrors that deficiency. If your awareness is perpetually stuck in reminiscences of the past, you cannot effectively propel yourself forward. And if you surrender your attention to the fluctuating opinions of others, you will never truly hear the wisdom of your own inner guidance. This is precisely why training your mind isn't just a helpful option, it's an absolute necessity. Your focus is like a precision instrument, a finely honed edge, and without diligently sharpening it each day, it becomes blunted and scattered. In those ancient wisdom schools, every deliberate movement, every conscious inhalation, every interlude of quietude is integral to that sharpening process. The practitioners don't just engage in physical disciplines to sculpt their bodies, they engage in them to cultivate mental discipline. Because a physique without a trained mind can be chaotic and even destructive, but a mind without a well-conditioned body can be fragile and unstable. Focus is honed in moments of quietude, through consistent repetition, by navigating discomfort with intention, and by cultivating patience. When you sit with your breath and notice your thoughts attempting to pull you away, and you gently guide your attention back, again and again, you are building profound inner resilience. When you maintain your awareness on what truly holds significance, even when everything around you is clamoring for your distraction, you are developing an unshakable core. Most people aren't weary because they're undertaking too many tasks. They are weary because their energy is dispersed. Their attention is fragmented across 1,000 inconsequential things, none of which ultimately bring them genuine peace. When your energy is spread thin, your personal power diminishes. But when your energy is concentrated, your very presence becomes remarkably potent. To remain unperturbed by the actions of others, you must consciously cease offering them your unbridled attention. Not because you are uncaring, but because your inner tranquility is far too precious to squander. When someone treats you with disrespect, what they often seek is your reaction. They are attempting to tap into your energy, and if you provide it, you are essentially fueling their fire. But if you keep your focus anchored within, if you choose not to react impulsively, you maintain your self-possession. You don't expend energy, you actually conserve and even gain it. Discipline in this context is simply focused awareness in action. It's consciously choosing to remain present when your mind desperately wants to wander. It's choosing to maintain composure when the world around you attempts to provoke a reaction. It's choosing the more challenging path, not because it feels immediately pleasant, but because it cultivates genuine strength. Take a moment to ask yourself, where does your focus typically go each day? Is it directed towards cultivating your inner world, or is it largely lost in attempts to please others? Is it channeled into mastering your unique craft, or is it squandered in comparing your journey to that of others? Is it employed to create and build, or is it consumed by complaining and critiquing? You cannot ascend if your gaze is perpetually fixed on the ground. You cannot flourish if your attention is consistently drawn to what you perceive as lacking. You cannot achieve self-mastery if you're constantly preoccupied with observing others. Where your attention is directed, your energy inevitably flows. Where your energy flows, your life experience subsequently grows and takes shape. And if your attention is firmly anchored in inner quiet, mindful presence and clear purpose, then your life will naturally begin to mirror that same profound power. Most external things truly do not warrant your sustained attention. Most perceived problems are not as substantial as they seem. They are often just shadows amplified by intense focus. Withdraw your focus, and the apparent problem diminishes. Reclaim your energy, and the internal storm subsides. You must become the vigilant protector of your attention. Choose with great care where it is directed and who or what receives it. Your focus, in essence, shapes your life. If you dispense it too freely, you risk losing your authentic self. But if you channel it with deliberate intention, you become a force to be reckoned with. Your tranquility, your strength, your personal evolution, they all commence with the quality of your focus. The more diligently you train it, the less the external world can disrupt your equilibrium, because you no longer give away your inherent power without conscious consent. Keep your vision steadfastly on your path, conserve your energy within, and let every action you take be a testament to your discipline and heightened awareness. Inner calm is not a sign of frailty, it is mastery expressed in quietude. In a society that perpetually urges you to do more, to speak with greater volume, to move at a faster pace, the most profound strength you can demonstrate is to remain composed when others impulsively react, to maintain your silence when others escalate their tone, and to stand resolute when everything around you seems to be unstable. This inner calm is not the mere lack of power, it is its most refined manifestation. It is the hallmark of a mind that is not dictated by the fleeting moment, but one that perceives beyond the immediate noise. It is the discipline of an individual who has trained themselves not to act unless action is truly warranted, not to speak unless words carry genuine necessity, and not to engage unless the engagement holds true significance. People often misconstrue a lack of immediate reaction as weakness. But in reality, if you find yourself reacting to every single stimulus, you are not truly in command. You are more like a marionette, with your movements dictated by the strings of emotion, pride, fear, and ego. The person who responds instantly, without thought, is not genuinely free. They are ensnared by ingrained habits. They are governed by what they feel in the moment, not by what they deeply know to be true. But the individual who cultivates inner calm is liberated. They observe an emotion arise and simply watch it. They hear an insult but do not inwardly recoil. They sense the brewing storm but remain steadfast, because they understand that this state of calm is not passive, it is intensely active. It is vibrant. It is awareness in its most concentrated and potent form. In traditions of deep wisdom, inner calm is cultivated just as rigorously as any dynamic practice. Practitioners might hold still postures for extended periods, not as a form of self-punishment, but to meticulously hone the discipline of the mind. Every moment spent in such quietude teaches them that their purpose is not to chase after every fleeting thought, not to blindly follow every emergent feeling, and not to respond to every single provocation. They are learning to remain anchored, unshakable, and entirely present in the now. Genuine inner calm arises when you have absolutely nothing to prove. It emerges when you no longer feel the compulsive need to be constantly seen or heard by others. It blossoms when you relinquish the desire for external validation or the need to always achieve victory. It solidifies when your core identity is no longer intricately tied to how other people treat you or what they happen to think about you. It dawns when you deeply realize that choosing silence is not an admission of weakness, it is an expression of profound wisdom. Within this inner calm, there is remarkable clarity. You begin to perceive things that others completely miss, because they are too caught up in their reactive cycles. You start to hear subtle truths that others ignore because their own internal or external chatter is too loud. You discover solutions not by exerting more force or fighting harder, but often by allowing for a period of patient observation. And within that space of waiting, the underlying truth often reveals itself. Do not ever confuse sheer noise with genuine power. Do not mistake aggressive displays for authentic strength. The individual who feels compelled to constantly speak, to defend their position, to argue, to engage in conflict, is often the one who is internally most vulnerable, because their mind cannot comfortably abide silence. Their heart cannot easily sit with discomfort. Their ego cannot tolerate remaining unseen or unacknowledged. But the one who possesses true, deep strength has no need to respond to every little thing. This person doesn't feel compelled to win every single skirmish because they recognize that most such battles are merely distractions. They are invitations to abandon your inner peace, to squander your precious energy. And if you readily accept these invitations, you are essentially trading your invaluable calm for a fleeting sense of pride. When someone attempts to challenge you, and you manage to remain inwardly still and composed, you achieve a significant victory. Not because you have somehow beaten them, but because you have conquered aspects of yourself: the reactive self, the prideful self, the insecure self. You demonstrate that you are no longer controlled by the lower, more impulsive mind, but are instead guided by your higher, more aware consciousness. Inner calm does not equate to inaction. It signifies appropriate action. It means responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. It means acting from a place of clear awareness, not from raw emotion. It involves waiting for the opportune moment, and when that moment arrives, moving with precision, inherent power, and unwavering purpose. To be truly calm is to be highly observant. To be truly calm is to maintain composure while others around you might be panicking. To be truly calm is to listen intently before you choose to speak. It is to think carefully before you make a move. And it is to remain unshakable when others attempt to disturb your equilibrium. Inner calm is the very foundation of discipline. It serves as a mirror reflecting the state of your mind. If your mind is habitually chaotic, you will find it exceedingly difficult to sit in stillness. If your heart is perpetually restless, you will struggle to embrace silence. If your spirit is unsettled, you will find it challenging to maintain composure. But if you dedicate yourself to daily practice, sitting in quietude, breathing through moments of discomfort, holding your ground without being easily swayed, you begin to cultivate an inner strength that, while perhaps unseen by others, is profoundly felt by everyone you encounter. You start to radiate an aura of presence, of tranquility, of focused energy, and when others observe you, they don't perceive weakness, they perceive depth. They sense a formidable power that is firmly under your conscious control. Inner calm is the art of possessing your capabilities without the constant need to display them. It's about confidently holding your position without feeling compelled to justify it. It's about maintaining your inner peace even when the world around you seems to be in turmoil, yet remaining fully prepared to act decisively the instant your purpose calls you forward. When you are truly calm, you begin to recognize that most external events do not actually warrant your immediate reaction. Most arguments are ultimately devoid of substance. Most chaos is simply distracting noise. Most people are, in essence, just reflecting their own internal struggles and pain. And if you attempt to absorb all of that, you will inevitably lose your own center. But if you cultivate the ability to remain inwardly calm, you reflect nothing back in a reactive way. You absorb nothing that isn't yours to carry. You allow everything to simply pass through you, much like the wind moving unimpeded through a forest. And ultimately, nothing can truly move you or disturb your inner state unless you grant it permission to do so. This is the approach of the self-mastered individual. This is the discipline of the one who walks through life with inner quiet, not as a means of escape, but as a source of profound strength. The calm mind is the most powerful mind. The calm individual is the most formidable person because they cannot be easily manipulated by fleeting emotions or broken by external noise. Train your mind to achieve this inner calm, and you will see the world with enhanced clarity. Train your heart to find its tranquility, and you will experience life with greater depth. Train your body to remain steadfast and unmoved, and you will navigate through periods of chaos completely untouched. This inner calm is not the ultimate destination. It is the solid foundation from which all true and effective action arises. It is the sacred space where genuine power patiently awaits in quietude for the precise moment to move with clear intention and lucid understanding. And that, in essence, is the pathway to true mastery.